Hey everybody, it's Gregory here in the bucket, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and I hope you have your coffee ready. I have mine here. Tall Pike Place, splash of cream, 1 raw sugar. If you're ever in the neighborhood, that's how I like it. And you're going to need it because we are going to go over the Attorney General's guidance to us landlords. It's a memorandum that was issued on the 11th of 2024 that goes over the new lead laws and how that's impacting us and what duties that we have to adhere to this new law. So let's get into it. Now, first and foremost, in this letter, the Attorney General highlights that this is about children, mostly, okay? Every child in every home in Rhode Island deserves to be safe from lead poisoning. Landlords, alongside the Attorney General's office, the Department of Health and Code Enforcement in our cities and towns, have a key role to play to protect children from the devastating and permanent. It's permanent. You don't get lead out of your bloodstream. Brain injuries that can be caused. During the past legislative session, the General Assembly passed a package of bills introduced at the request of the AG, to address lead poisoning and promote healthy housing. These laws mark a crucial step in eradicating childhood lead poisoning by ensuring compliance with existing lead laws that have already been in place for decades, but loosely enforced, you could say. Loosely enforced. The purpose of this guidance that we're going over today is to provide landlords with a practical overview of these new laws and to answer some FAQs. All right, and you can get more information on the AG's website and the Department of Health, but let's jump into it. So, have new laws been enacted to reduce child lead poisoning? Yes. The Rhode Island legislature passed 3 laws to increase compliance with existing lead laws and a new law subjecting owner-occupied rental properties to the lead certificate requirement. So the first law is called the Rental Registry Law, and this establishes a statewide rental registry to be stood up by the Department of Health and mandates that all landlords, all of us, must register their rental units by October 1st of this year, 2024. Additionally, landlords who rent properties built before 1978, which most of them, right, are required, to file lead conformance certificates, which are already required by law, but again, like I said, have been loosely enforced through the registry. The second law is called the escrow law, and this allows the tenants to petition the court to pay their rent into an escrow account when their unit is not compliant with lead hazard risk reduction laws, including by lacking a lead safe certificate, or when there are otherwise unaddressed lead hazards in their home. This law is now in effect. Boom, it's there. And this means the tenant knows there's lead or knows that you're not keeping up on inspections. They can pay their rent into an escrow account until, the conformance is met or the lead has been mitigated, The third law is called the Treble Damages Law, and this allows tenants affected by lead poisoning to recover up to 3 times their actual monetary damages if the landlord has violated lead safety law, and this is also in effect, So that one, to me, I don't believe a specific example is given, but in my opinion, that would be, I don't know, maybe they had to move out or they have to move out for things to get mitigated or there's medical bills or something like that. You can pursue 3 times the actual cost as a tenant of what you had to spend due to the landlord's inaction, But again, I don't think there's any specifics on that. What new responsibilities do we as landlords have under these new laws? So landlords who are already compliant with existing laws are unlikely to see a significant change in their responsibilities. And to be honest, many of our landlords offhand already have lead certificate conformance because they have Section 8 housing. So that's one of the predisposed requirements for subsidized housing is that certificate. Okay, so a lot of our landlords are already in compliance and already on that wheel. Okay, landlords of owner-occupied properties, which is unique here, must obtain lead certificates for their properties. This law took effect on January 1st, and under the new rental registry law, once the rental registry is in place, all landlords must register by providing basic contact information. All landlords subject to the requirements of the law as of September 1st have until October 1st to register by law. In addition, the landlords of pre-1978 units must upload their previously required lead certificates to the registry to prove compliance with existing lead laws. Landlords who fail to register, this is the big dog, I'll say it again, landlords who fail to register will not be able to evict tenants for non-payment of rent. Okay, so if you don't have this lead certificate, you cannot file an eviction for non-payment of rent. You can, however, terminate a tenancy. So that is the workaround. That is the workaround. If your tenant's not paying, but you don't want to go through the rigmarole or you don't have the money to do it, it's an expensive thing. This is not cheap. This is not cheap. Lead inspections, lead mitigation is not cheap. And you want to get that tenant out, you can terminate the tenancy, which means they have to vacate, but you're not collecting any money. Okay, so just know that. In situations where a landlord fails to comply, tenants may now petition the court to hold their rent in escrow, which we talked about earlier. And should a tenant choose to exercise that option, a landlord may not evict, terminate tenancy, raise the rent, or reduce services in retaliation. So you're handcuffed if the tenant exercises the option to hold their rent in escrow. In addition to these responsibilities, landlords remain responsible for remediating or abating damaged chipping or flaking paint in pre-1978 dwellings and ensuring that lead-safe work practices are followed when arranging for or conducting repairs that disturb lead-based paint. These requirements existed before the recent laws were enacted and remain the same. Yes, they did, but not with these strings. Okay, these strings were not attached. So it was very lackadaisical, loosely enforced. There was no incentive for landlords to do it. They didn't do it unless they had to. And now they have to even more. Now, when do these laws take effect? The registry, escrow, and treble damages took effect upon passage, January. However, with respect to the registry, all landlords subject to the requirements of the rental registry law as of September 1st have until October 1st, okay, to register the information required. A landlord who acquires a rental property or begins leasing a property to a tenant after September 1st must register the information required by law within 30 days, okay? The owner-occupied lead certificate requirement has already taken effect on January 1st, so that is already required. Now, let's talk about remediation, because let's be honest, folks, these properties all have lead that were built before 78, all of them that have not been remediated. Okay, windows, door trim, floor treads, interior walls sometimes, but you're going to have to rip these walls down to the studs. You're going to have to replace every window, every door, every stair tread. The whole place, the whole surface is covered and compromised. If you're going to do that, if you want lead free. Okay? Lead free is a certification that you get one time. Boom. Place is lead free. But they're going to come in with an x-ray machine. An x-ray machine that looks through the wall and can read if there's lead in the paint, in the trim, wherever. Lead safe is different. That means that it's encapsulated. It's been painted over and it's not chipping, flaking, or peeling. Now this option is cheaper it's easier, it's quicker. However, we must continue to inspect every 2 years. Every 2 years. Every unit, every hallway, every 2 years. So you have two options. You can go for the lead-free, meaning you're going to bait it completely. You're going to rip the walls down. You're going to rip the floors up. You're going to build a new house inside this house. Or you're going to encapsulate it. Okay? So let's see what the Attorney General has to say. A variety of methods are available. Landlords may hire a Department of Health certified lead contractor or licensed lead renovation firm to perform lead hazard reduction or control. Alternatively, landlords can remediate lead violations themselves, this is big, after taking an initial 8-hour lead renovator training course with a certified training provider and receiving a lead renovation firm license from the Rhode Island Department of Health. Should landlords choose to become qualified to make repairs themselves, they must submit their lead renovator certification to the Rhode Island Department of Health along with other materials necessary to apply for a lead renovation firm license. Certification to apply for license. Conducting lead hazard reduction work without a license may result in an enforcement action by the Department of Health or the AG and fines up to $5,000 per day. Actually, might be cheaper than lead abatement. Owners can access information about and providers for lead hazard reduction through the Department of Health's database. Okay. Is there any financial assistance for landlords making lead remediations? Yes. Landlords may apply to various financial assistance programs. Rhode Island Housing provides owners with assistance in remediating lead paint hazards. City or towns may also may offer financial assistance programs. For example, Providence's Lead Safe Providence program, I think that's a typo. I think it's Providence Lead Safe Prevention Program is what they meant to say, but I'm not an attorney. Provides forgivable loans to help make properties lead safe, and Woonsocket's lead hazard reduction program coordinates and provides forgivable loans for applicants' lead hazard reduction projects. Information about this is on the Department of Health's website. Additionally, the Rhode Island Residential Lead Abatement Income Tax Credit provides landlords with a tax credit of up to $5,000 per dwelling unit for money spent to correct lead hazards. And that's on the Division of Taxation's website. So basically what I'm getting from this is that's what I'm getting from that. What if my tenant won't let me enter the unit to have a lead inspection performed or to remediate lead? Because when you remediate, you got to get out. You got to go. There's dust, there's flakes, there's things in the air. Where's the tenant going to go? So let's see. Under the Residential Landlord and Tenant Act, a tenant shall not unreasonably withhold consent to the landlord to enter into the dwelling unit in order to inspect the premises or to make necessary or agreed upon repairs, provided that a landlord gives a minimum 2-day, which is required anyways, 48 hours, verbal or written notice, and attempts to enter the tenant's rental unit at a reasonable time. Okay. If a request for access has been properly made and the tenant refuses, the landlord can go to court to compel access or terminate the rental agreement. If there are no children in my rental units, do I still have to remediate hazards or have a lead conformance certificate? Yes. Rhode Island law states that all rental units in the state shall be maintained in a lead-safe condition. Furthermore, units built before 1978 are required to maintain an active certificate as evidence that the units are in a lead-safe condition. It is vital to comply with these laws as both adults and children can be poisoned by breathing in or swallowing lead dust settled on surfaces and eating paint chips or soil containing lead, including during renovations or repairs that disturb painted surfaces. So in the beginning, it says, every child in every home deserves to be safe from lead poisoning. And this here says, as both adults and children can be lead poisoned. But make no mistake about it, this is for the protection and safety of our youth. That's my interpretation. I know a few adults that lick dusty surfaces, but not many. This is for children, and I respect that. I agree with it. I understand it. Okay? While lead is especially dangerous to children under the age of 6, high levels of lead in adults can cause harm to a developing fetus, fertility problems in men and women, and memory and concentration problems, in addition to other symptoms, which is true. It is important to remediate hazards and have updated lead conformance certificates to battle the negative effects lead has on all of us. More information can be found on the Department of Health's website. Okay, so let's break this down. You're going to need inspections every 2 years for your lead safe. You can do the lead free, but that's going to be expensive, time consuming, and there's not much out there as far as assistance financially goes. So you have to be diligent about this. You have to take it serious. Yes, you have 6-7 months at this point to get your ducks in order, but plan for it. Either you hire somebody, okay, or you're doing it yourself with the proper licensure, but don't sleep on it, don't sit on it, because what's going to happen is not only are you going to get fined, but you also may be in a position where the tenant stops paying. Okay, you need to evict them, you can't evict them, or they're putting their money into the escrow account, and then you can't do anything until you have your compliance met. So, in sum, management company definitely helps. We already have vendors lined up that are ready to go and take care of our units. Okay? Or you hire somebody and get them on a schedule. And if you have a lot of units, feel free to offer or ask them to offer you some type of discount, okay? Because it's repetition for them. Volume, right? We have 700 something units just here. So you do have some leverage if you're a bigger landlord. And if you're an owner-occupant, just remember that your requirement is already in place. So you have to get jumping on that right away, okay? So any questions, let us know, and we'll answer to the best of our abilities. And if we can't, we have attorneys ready, willing, and able to help out all of our Nexus compatriots and give you the right answers and the right guidance. So once again, Greg Rice here in the bucket, 20 minutes later, your property and your lead managed.